All right, I'm back with Supernatural Season 2, Episode 6. This will be the first video in the second part for Season 2. I'm splitting this season up into, I think, 4 separate parts to make it a little bit quicker for me to get things done and out to you. Because Supernatural is a very long-running show, and the seasons are pretty long. We start the show, our first victim is going to be taken out, and before she is, we see this dark black ooze coming out of the outlet, and right after that, she gets done away with. Sam and Dean go back to Ellen and Joe's bar. They want to go and speak to Ash, but Joe and Ellen are in the middle of quite a family argument. Joe's been looking into some things that Ellen really doesn't want her messing with. Ellen insists she doesn't go anywhere. She passes off a folder to Sam and Dean for them to look at that she's put together, dialoguing a lot of stuff that's been going on that she's been investigating regarding a specific problem. But this hits too close to home for Ellen. This makes her feel like her daughter's going to be in danger and warns them against doing anything with her. So they take off to try to take care of these cases themselves, but Joe follows not too far behind, and they find her. Of course, even though they try to ward Joe off, she's not going anywhere. She is involved in this. She wants to be involved in this. And I don't think anything they can say is really going to sway her. After they fight with her a little while to try to get her to go back home, they finally let her. Now, the cases that she handed them deal directly with that image we saw earlier with the black ooze coming out of the wall. And they have come to the apartment of that girl and found this glob of hair stuck up in, I think it was like a wall vent or something like that. And this is the next girl that is getting confiscated. This hand comes up out of the vent and drags her right in. And they're investigating these recent murders with this ectoplasm. They are all happening in a specific area, and it turns out that this image shows a picture of a field where the building they are in is built now, and right beside it is a prison. And this is where most of this stuff is actually occurring because of that prison being there. And apparently at one time they would hang inmates in that field in between these two buildings where the prison was and where this other building were. Upon investigating all the people that were executed in that field, they find this guy who apparently is like the forefather of serial killers named H.H. Holmes or Henry H. Holmes. Really bad guy. Well, this is who we're actually dealing with. We are dealing with kind of his spirit. This time, Joe, because Sam was too big to fit between the cracks, she was actually a little smaller, so she was able to fit between this narrow area in the wall. And now she is stuck there, and she sees this black ooze, that same black ooze. She is getting ready to be taken. She wakes up later. She is in this prison cell. There's very little light getting in. There are also other cells, and you can hear another woman in one of the cells nearby. Since Dean did everything he could to try to get in the walls and find this girl, and he was not able to find her, Sam got a metal detector to try to locate wherever this spirit might be holding these girls. They do figure out where she is. They are able to get in there. I think they found a grate that allowed them in. And as the spirit looks like he's getting ready to attack Joe, they shoot him. Of course, shooting him was not enough to get rid of him. They decided to use Joe for bait, surrounded him by a barrier of salt, which he cannot cross as long as that salt barrier is not broken, and they get Joe out of there. And since his remains are hard to access, I wasn't quite sure. I thought Sam saw them, but I don't know if he can get to them. So they are cementing this whole area in. So when Joe gets back, Ellen is very upset. She's very frustrated. But Joe picks up on something more is going on. This isn't just danger that she's in from doing this job. There's something more to it. And come to find out that Sam and Dean's dad was actually involved with Ellen's husband and Joe's dad ending up missing and dying. And so apparently on her dad's last job, he had teamed up with John Winchester, both of which almost never teamed up with other people. When her father ended up getting killed, John wasn't able to own up to it and did not go back and take care of the matter. He just left them because he felt so guilty about it, I'm assuming. That is why her mom is so worried that this same thing that happened with her dad could now happen with her trying to work with them. But we don't actually know what happened in the previous thing. And we know the Winchesters aren't always very good with this kind of stuff. But that's it for this episode. This is Supernatural Season 2, Episode 7. And this is an interesting one. We start out with a little preview that actually shows Dean getting caught for some kind of murder that he didn't commit. It goes back and forth between the kind of current time and previously when they were going to arrest them and the things that led up to the arrest. And this is the process of them breaking down the door to arrest Sam and Dean. Now, they do arrest Sam. They don't really have any charges. He does know he can be held for 48 hours. And in this scene, she tells him about them being seen breaking into somebody's house. And then it goes back to showing Sam and Dean when they first started investigating this case, before they were arrested. And one of the things they found was several lines saying Dana Schultz on paper, along with this finger writing on the glass. Dean eventually gets bored of Sam trying to do this investigative stuff with this Dana Schultz character, so he decides to go and check on the girl. He gets there, she is dead with her neck sliced, blood all over the place. But this is also what leads to him being caught and arrested. Then we go back to the current situation where these two are trying to investigate Sam and Dean. He's been dealing with Dean, she's been dealing with Sam, and now they're talking to each other, and it turns out they actually have a very flimsy case. She suggests that they keep going at him and try to find more evidence or try to get them to bend or break or whatever. But he's like, no, let them stew in their own juices, which I thought was kind of not the best idea because that gives Sam and Dean more time to plot and plan and come up with a way to get out of there. They sent a public defender in for Dean, and he's been trying to figure out this name they've been seeing, Dana Schultz. And figures out it's probably an anagram where the letters have been switched around to mean something else, and hands it to the public defender, telling him to go and visit his brother and get it to his brother. The public defender thinks that Dean's not taking this very seriously, but it is a good idea, in my opinion, for him to get this information to Sam, whether it had anything to do with what they were investigating or getting him out of there or not, because Sam does have that previous history trying to get a degree at Stanford in the legal profession. Next thing you know, Sam finds out that Dean is supposed to be making some kind of confession. Well, it turns out the confession is just to say, well, I didn't do this shit, but we are looking for information on this vengeful spirit, and starts bringing up the stuff with anagrams. I don't think he specifically said Dana Schultz, but he showed a paper that had the name written on it. And the lady that was investigating the case that had been talking to Sam, she had just seen that name Dana Schultz come up over and over again on her computer screen. So I think that got her rattled and shaken up a little bit. So she was a little more willing to talk to and listen to what Dean had to say. After his fake confession, the other investigator was like, you did this, you killed this person. And Dean was like, that person was killed by a shapeshifter that just happened to look like me, which pissed the guy off, and he proceeds to do this. Either way, after that confrontation was over, she goes and talks to Dean because she is freaking out. She not only saw that text, but then she goes to the bathroom and sees a vision of this girl in the mirror who's actually trying to talk to her but can't talk because her throat's been slit. So Dean insists she needs to go and talk to his brother, tells him where his brother is, and they of course have this conversation about how she could technically arrest him, and he's like, yeah, you can do that or whatever, but we need to work on taking care of you because you are in danger. She does at least agree that he should, yes, help her out and save her from whatever the heck is happening. While they are investigating where Sam feels that this Dana Schultz thing might actually be about, which has to do with a street called Ashland, which they think that's what this anagram is, Ashland something or another, and because of the history of all the people that have been killed on Ashland Street, and this is where the investigator again sees this apparition of Claire, who apparently was one of the victims that was killed on Ashland. But I think in her case, her murder hadn't actually been found. So this is actually her pointing to the area where her remains are. And she turns out not to be a vengeful spirit, but a spirit that is trying to get her murder brought to justice, basically. They find Claire's remains, and in the process they see that Claire has these same wrist bruises that the other victims had, along with the investigator who's been seen by this girl. But not only that, she's wearing a necklace that is the same as a necklace this investigator got from her partner that's been working with her. And it does take her and Sam a little while, but they manage to piece together that he's actually been involved with these drug crimes and some sloppy casework dealing with these drug crimes, and was directly involved with a case against Claire, the dead girl whose body they just found, who was also wearing the same kind of necklace that he had given her. Come to find out that he has taken Dean, says he's transferring Dean to some other place, which he doesn't plan to do at all. He apparently plans to kill him, and she comes just in time to stop him. And as he starts to turn on his partner, Claire shows up. Claire serves as a distraction while the other investigator shoots him. And this is her after she had to put her partner down, and Claire has gone away. They think she is probably able to rest in peace now. After they talk about it for a while, she's like, I'm pretty sure I can get your case dismissed, especially with the evidence that we have against my partner. But there's this other case that we don't really know, and my suggestion is that you just walk away and lay low, because they're going to be looking for you for a while. Dean even asks about where they have his car impounded at, and she tells him, but suggests that he doesn't mess around with it because they are going to be on the lookout for him. And Sam and Dean are like, we kind of are really good at improvising. And she's like, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to go right after the car, but anyway, she's letting him go. I think this is at least the second time we've seen a police officer of some sort let them go like this. Just walk away off the scene before other authorities show up. And that's the end of this episode. This is episode 8 of Supernatural. In this episode, Sam and Dean are going to learn a lot of new stuff about these demons. It's going to clarify some things for the future and confirm and shed some light on suspicions Dean's had about his father's death. Now we begin the episode with this guy being chased by what seems like wild dogs. We never actually see them, but they are after him. And that guy was from a deal that was struck many years ago from somebody else who's already been taken. Now there are other cases similar to his, and Sam and Dean are investigating them like they do, and investigating these reports of hearing wild black dogs. During their investigation, they find out that this guy had actually visited Lloyd's bar like 10 years ago. So they're suspecting he made some kind of deal. Now they're investigating somebody else that I think was linked to them somehow, and they also were connected with Lloyd's bar. They have a picture of a doctor and a couple friends, and on the back you can see it says Lloyd's bar on it. They go to Lloyd's bar, which is called Lloyd's Tavern technically. What's the difference between a tavern and a bar? Not really sure, but I'm pretty sure that I have looked that up at some point. Anyway, Lloyd's Tavern is on a crossroads, which Sam and Dean know that there are certain deals that people have made with demons at crossroads, and there are also some plants that are planted at this intersection that they think is indicative of possibly summoning a demon. So they go to the center of this crossroads, dig it up, and they find this, which is definitely an indication of kind of some old voodoo type magic that has been used to summon a demon and make a deal with them. And we see this, I believe, which they say is from 1930, probably the guy we saw earlier being chased by hounds, at the same crossroads making a deal with this beautiful demon lady. After going in and talking to the people at the bar about some of these missing people, they get the name of this guy here who is also one of the people that struck a deal at that crossroads. His deal to become a talented artist, which he says it did him a fat lot of good. He's like talented at art, but nobody wants to buy his stuff. He's like, if I could go back, this deal definitely was not worth it. Maybe I should have asked for fame because I have all these paintings here that nobody wants. He's pretty much given up and decided that there's nothing he can really do. He's gonna die anyway. He knows that, and he just wants to finish this last painting. But he does give them information about one more person that they had not learned about that also struck a deal at the crossroads. Sam and Dean went and visited this guy. He's pretty sure he's gonna die and there's nothing that they can do about it. His deal had to do with saving his wife, who was dying of cancer. Dean goes to the crossroads to try to trap this demon, and Sam stays with the guy to try to keep him alive while Dean is working his magic. Dean is attempting to trap this demon into letting the guy out of the deal. And Dean manages to get her all the way over to the car. She agrees very readily to get in his car, which to me should have been an indication to her that this might be some kind of trap. That didn't seem to occur to her until she looks down as she's walking into the car and sees that there is a trap under the car. So that trap didn't work. He continues to talk to this demon while Sam is continuing to try to keep the other guy safe. But the hellhounds are like really on him and trying to get through the door. He has put some stuff in a circle around this guy and put some stuff around the edges of the room to try to keep these hellhounds out. But they broke a line through the door, so the hellhounds were able to get into the room, just not quite able to get to the guy yet. Dean does not manage to convince this demon to break the curse on Evan, so he tries to do some spell. I think it's to try to summon the demon to hell or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. As he's doing that, the hellhounds are still going after this guy, and they manage to break the circle that Sam has put around him. But in order to stop Dean from casting this demon into hell, the demon decides to go ahead and make a deal with him, breaks this curse so that Evan is safe, and stops Dean from sending the demon to hell. And apparently to seal this deal, they have to kiss, which is the same thing that the black guy had to do earlier with the other demon. And then as this demon tells Dean about how awful the experience that his father is having in hell, the demon gets expelled from this woman, leaving her stranded there, not having a clue what the heck's been going on. After Dean tells Sam what happened with the demon, Sam was like, this was probably a trick. You weren't seriously considering taking this demon up on her offer. And Dean just turns up the radio, looks kind of guilty, and keeps on driving on down the road. But we know what's to come. We know how fucking entrenched these guys are going to be in this whole demon world and summoning demons in order to keep people alive, in order to bring back the dead, especially within their family. Alright, so we're on season 2, episode 9. This is called Croatoan. We start out with Sam having a nightmare about Dean trying to kill some guy. And we will see him later when more stuff is going on. Sam and Dean's next stop is in Oregon, and while they're checking things out, they see this pole that says Croatoan on it, which Dean doesn't know what exactly Croatoan is, but Sam reminds him that this is something that we studied in school, that the stuff that Dean is expressing about school was actually one of the little animated things that we would watch on public television. He gives him the lowdown on Croatoan, which was this thing that went on in Roanoke, Virginia, I think. In that situation, he said that this entire community basically just kind of disappeared off the face of the earth. And there were all kinds of theories and explanations of what might have happened, but nobody really knew. Maybe it was some plague or something, but who the frick knows? They just all freaking fell off the face of the earth. They were gone. Boom. Entire, city or something like that. Well, they're at this house to check out this person that they're investigating. They find that this mom has been tied up by her husband and son. They are trying to drip blood on him. I don't know that they actually saw that, but they saw that she was tied up, that she was cut up, and that they obviously meant her harm. They end up shooting the dad, but Sam hesitates and misses the kid, who jumps out the window. Now, after taking the wife and husband to a clinic, the doctor there realizes there is some kind of virus going on that is causing this situation. And they talk about needing to get out of there, but the phone lines are down. And this is where Sam and Dean actually first notice that the lines are not working. They check their cell phones, then they check the payphone, and everything's down. And the doctor also confirms that she wasn't able to get a hold of anybody. When she checks out the blood, she finds out there is a virus there, and in the blood cells there seems to be a residue of sulfur. Later on, when Sam and Dean are speaking, they talk about how it's resembling kind of a biblical plague, taking everybody out. After the doctor offers to check the mother's blood, the mother turns around and attacks her, which indicates to everybody that she is infected. And her friend and Sam and Dean decide that they need to take this woman out because she's infected. There seems to be no way to stop the infection that they know of, and it is taking everybody out very quickly. And they also tend to get very strong very quickly after symptoms start to show up. Her friend hesitates, and Dean asks Sam if he's sure that she's infected. He confirms she is infected, and Dean goes ahead and kills her. Sam and Dean have another one of their arguments. It seems that Dean has kind of fallen back on that black and white thinking, where he's just insistent that once somebody's turned, that they're a monster, that they're not human anymore, and there's no reason to empathize with them, question whether you should kill them or anything like that. And Sam is something is wrong with you. You have not been right in a while. This is not cool. How you're being is not okay. And this girl, I think, was the assistant that was working with the doctor. I kind of suspected there was something wrong with her from the beginning, just because of the little things that she was doing. The way she was acting seemed a little suspect to me. Sam goes to get some supplies to make explosives for them to get out of there, and she comes in and says, "I have been waiting all this time for this, to get you alone," and then knocks him down, cuts his chest, then cuts herself, and tries to infect him. They kill the girl, and Dean tells the other people that are still there that they should leave. They should take these explosives that him and Sam made and get the heck out of there. Dean's gonna stay there with Sam because they're pretty sure he should be infected, and they don't want to take any chances, but, Dean's not going to freaking kill Sam. Dean's going to just stay there with him. Maybe eventually he may decide to kill him, but that's not likely. We do eventually see the whole scheme of things, the whole timeline of the Winchesters is them constantly dying and trying to get each other back, and awful shit happening, and them trying to make sure that they don't end up dying. Over and over and over again this happens. They cannot let go of each other. Killing each other, not likely. Now, before Sam was attacked, Sam and Dean had made these explosives so that they could get the heck out of the town, where all these infected people are well armed and would not hesitate to shoot them. They figure explosives are the best way for them to get the heck out of Dodge. And then when they realize that Sam is probably infected, and they have several hours to wait before they can find out if he is infected, Dean tells the other guys that are there that they should just leave, take the explosives with them, and get the heck out of there. and Dean's gonna just stay there with Sam. And not too long later, the doctor comes back in and she's like, look, you need to come and take a look at this. And they go outside. There is nobody. Basically, the entire town is gone. It's just them left. So like that story about Croatoa, this whole place just gone. Disappeared into thin air after this virus struck. And then a few hours after Sam was attacked by the girl, the doctor goes ahead, checks his blood, and finds that the virus is gone. But not only that, she checks the blood of the people that had been infected before, and their blood is no longer infected either. Just magically disappeared. And one of the two guys that were supposed to use those explosives so they could leave town, well, it turns out to be one of the agents from Blacklist. But anyway, he also ends up killing the other guy that was supposed to leave town with him using his blood for blood magic. Plus, I also think to try to tie up loose ends. Because he turns out to be a demon, communicating that tests on Sam no longer need to be done. It is, in fact, confirmed that he is immune to this virus that just spread through the town. And this entire episode is, in fact, a big build-up to things that are going to occur for Sam in future episodes. Sam and Dean have another one of their heart-to-heart talks. Sam is really trying to find out what is going on with Dean, because Dean had said that he really wants to stop. He wants to quit this. He offered to kill himself so that he would not have to do this stuff anymore. And during this talk, Dean actually entertains the idea of taking a break, going to the Grand Canyon or something. Just to stop working on this stuff. Sam keeps digging what the heck is going on. Sam tries to tell him, like, you can tell me this stuff. You can allow me to help take some of the load off. And Dean says that he can't. He promised. And Sam's like, promised who? What? And the episode ends with Dean starting to tell Sam about what his father told him before he died. But it doesn't show Dean actually saying what he said. That is it for that episode. Alright everyone, this is Season 2, Episode 10, called Hunted. And for this one, I want to start where we left off from the last episode. Dean was talking to Sam about what his father had told him, and told Sam that his father told him to keep him safe, that something big was coming, and that if he had to, he might have to kill Sam, which of course did not go over well with Sam at all. Now back to the beginning of the show, we have this guy seeing a psychiatrist, and he just told the psychiatrist that he has these visions, that he can electrocute things by touching them. The psychiatrist doesn't really believe him, and so he says, well, let's shake on it, which the psychiatrist avoids that by going on to other questions. And the guy eventually divulges that he's been seeing old Yellow Eyes, who's also been telling him that he's part of this big plan. He has plans for him, just like Sam. The next time we see him, it's nighttime. He gets attacked by somebody, and we see him reach out to try to touch the person because he can electrocute them, which doesn't work out. The guy apparently knows, keeps him from touching him, and kills him. And for a little while, I actually thought it might have been the psychiatrist that killed him, but it wasn't. During Sam and Dean's talk, Dean warned Sam that he really wanted them to lay low because he was really worried about what was going on, but Sam was not having it and takes off. We later see him with a note in his hand investigating this place. Spinning off on Sam's visions that he has of future things that are happening, this girl is actually dreaming about Sam investigating this place and then dying after hitting a tripwire. So before these things take place, she goes to find Sam using the paper that she saw in her dream. She tells him what she saw, thinks that he's viewing her as crazy, and he turns around and explains that she's one of them, that they all have these powers, which she responds, oh, so you're the one that's crazy. When Dean realizes that Sam has taken off, he goes ahead and he calls Ellen, to which Ellen says, hey, you can't protect your family forever, But then she says screw that and goes ahead and tells Dean where Sam is. To find out more about the guy that was killed earlier in the episode, Sam has the girl book an appointment with the psychiatrist that was seeing him earlier, which allows her to distract the doctor while Sam is walking across a ledge so he can get to the records of the guy that was killed earlier. Next thing you know, they're getting shot at, and it turns out the person shooting at them is Gordon, the vampire hunter from earlier. Dean first beats the crap out of him, but then he gets a hold of Dean, holds him hostage in the same place that we see earlier in the episode when Sam appeared to be getting killed in that girl's dream. Unlike the dream we saw earlier, Sam actually avoids those tripwires, setting them off without killing himself, and sneaks in behind, pulling a gun on Gordon. This guy's really not having a good day. Dean beat the crap out of him earlier, now Sam beat the crap out of him. Then as they're getting away, Sam tells Dean that he's taken care of Gordon, but Gordon comes out shooting with a gun in each hand as cops pull up all around him. Really not having a good day, but I'd say Sam and Dean were justified in what they did. Towards the end of the episode, Sam and Dean are talking in the car like they usually do, and Sam is trying to get a hold of Eva and is not able to, which makes him worried. So they do go all the way to Peoria, Illinois to check on her, find her fiance bludgeoned in the bed, find her ring, and find sulfur on the windowsill, indicating that Yellow Eyes had been there. So a lot of the stuff going on with Sam and the other people that are like him is really starting to come together, and we're starting to see a lot more of what's going to happen. Until next time, I'll see you when I see you. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you want more content, click subscribe. If you click that little bell and click all, then you'll get more content notifications.